It's Monday night, and you know what that means. Jersey First TV probably brings to you the latest edition of Real Talk, and I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, top 50 Latino via the Latino Spirit online magazine, certainly the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, and without a doubt, the people's choice and the people's voice. Yes, it is me, Fernando Uribe. Folks, happy Monday once again on this, the 15th of May, as we are moving along here. Happy Mother's Day again. Hopefully you got to enjoy a wonderful Mother's Day weekend with your moms. I know I sure did, along with my aunt, my other aunt from Colombia. Great time last night, of course, having dinner, reminiscing, and certainly I hope you all got to enjoy some meaningful Mother's Day time with your moms. And for those of you, obviously, who are not able to celebrate with your moms, again, my prayers go out to you, certainly during this holiday weekend. But folks, again, I want to thank you all for tuning in from wherever and however you may be doing so right now on Facebook Live via StreamYard, and also on the Jersey First YouTube page, as well as on LinkedIn. Folks, as you can see, I'm rocking the purple. Let me just have a little tea from my Los Angeles Lakers. Getting through the Golden State Warriors and moving on to the Western Conference Finals. And folks, you know what? Just because it bothers so many people, I love rooting for my Lakers. But folks, a little bit more Laker talk at the end, sort of towards the end of the segment here. But of course, click on that share button, folks. Sharing is caring. And of course, wherever it is that you get Jersey First, hey, do us a favor. Of course, on all of our social media, make sure you like Jersey First TV, obviously on Facebook. And without a doubt, folks, make sure you follow it on Instagram and Twitter. And certainly follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the Fernando Zone. Also subscribe to the Jersey First YouTube page, as well as wherever you get your podcasts on Spotify or SoundCloud. Whether you're walking your dog, going to the gym, getting summer ready, folks, hey, take Jersey First with you anywhere at any time. And of course, I cannot say enough about how proud I am to be on the dream team of journalism here in the Garden State, folks. That's right, it's Jersey First TV, of course. Brand new episodes of The Nader Narrative on Thursday nights with Elizabeth Nader, and certainly new episodes of Bridging the Gap with AJ Malilo and Stephen Rombolo. Great teammates. And of course, folks, every Monday night here on Facebook Live and StreamYard, of course, as well as on YouTube, you can check out new episodes of Real Talk with Fernando Uribe. Folks, I cannot say it enough. And yes, I don't mean to be too braggadocious, but of course, you know what? Shout out to all the members of Lakers Nation here in New Jersey, specifically in Hudson County once again. Cheers to you all, our Lakers. We're going to the NBA Finals. It's that simple. Denver, you're going to be out soon enough, so don't you worry. Little tea here once again, folks. Let's go Lakers, trying to chase that record-breaking 18th championship, hopefully later in June. Folks, again, certainly tuning in right now from wherever, however you may be doing so. Click that share button, and of course, great content comes on your screen all the time, courtesy of Jersey First TV. Folks, one of the things I love talking about is not just statewide politics, obviously with elected officials, candidates, activists, but I like talking to fellow journalists, and in this case, a fellow opinion journalist, a guy who I hold in considerable high regard. He's a guy in Hudson County who is very reputable in his own right, gets the scoops a lot sooner than a lot of us, though, ladies and gentlemen. He's a guy who has the ear of the community, and really, I would call him the heart of Jersey City when it comes to journalism, because he does it really better than anyone there in Hudson County's largest city. Folks, he is the editor and publisher of the Hudson County Chronicles, and of course, a dedicated member of Cowboys Nation and Lakers Nation. My man, Bruce Alston, joins us here on Real Talk. What's up, Bruce?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Yo, what's up with our Lakers? What's up?
Hey, man, listen, my allergies are killing me, right? But I mean, man, we were talking when they were 2-10, and we knew they weren't done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Hey, man, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Listen, Denver's a big hurdle. Let's get it twisted. But I'm gonna tell you something. Lakers in 6. I'm calling it right now, and we'll see.
You gotta win in 6.
Listen, I'll tell you right now. Lakers in 6, and whoever's coming out of these, they're not beating the Lakers. It's that simple. East is just sacrificial lamb.
I don't think they'll beat Denver. I can't see either team contending with Jokic.
Oh, I agree. Listen, I agree with you. Again, psychologically, being able to get past Curry, Klay Thompson, and the Warriors was big for LeBron James and that Laker team. I just think psychologically that probably gets them over the hump. We'll see. A lot more basketball to be played. But Bruce, again, it's great to have you on here. I haven't talked to you in a while. Obviously, I do talk to you regularly on my Hudson County podcast, talking to Hudson, but I haven't talked to you in a while here. But
this is my first time on this one.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. And certainly, again, I'm hoping to get you on more regularly because things are heating up in Hudson County. And let's start really with a topic that I think, you're not sort of in the firestorm of it, but I know that just like me, I like to chirp. I think you're chirping a little bit too about something that concerns you. And that's the ongoing debate about Liberty State Park. So let me preface this by saying that I've talked to some other players in this saga. Aaron Murrill, the editor of the Jersey City Times, who coincidentally I'll talk to tomorrow when I pre-record talking to Hudson. I certainly want to get him on this show, but I know that you have a lot to say about not just the Jersey City Times, but Bruce, let's start off talking about the tribalism that I think that really is generated when we just bring up three simple words: Liberty State Park. What side are you on, man?
You know what? I'm on this side, right? That I'm on the right side. I'll make no bones about it. I'm with the coach. I'm with Coach Hurley. I'm with Jerry Walker. I'm with the People's Park Foundation as far as adamantly supporting their proposal. And I just think that there's things about the proposal, right? The plans for the Liberty State Park, right? It's that it's getting caught up in how can I say it? Messaging that's off-based, right? Especially when the people that are delivering the message, right, know that there's people already in power in the decision-making process have told them that's not a part of the process. That's not going on. There is no privatization plan for Liberty State Park. There isn't. There isn't. We can go back and talk about the Cave and Point Peninsula, right? There was no privatization plan for Cave and Point Peninsula, Fernando. What happened was this. Cave and Point Peninsula is being labeled as a natural preserve. Do you know really it's just a garbage dump? It's man-made, all right? It had some damage done during Hurricane Sandy, right? State has never fixed it. The state can't afford to fix it. So the state issued an RFP out on development for the site. State issued that. In their findings, they said, hey, we can't fix this. We don't have the money to fix it. We don't have the money to remediate it. And Paul Fireman, I guess, from Liberty National, right? He basically answered the RFP and said, hey, I'll fix it. I'll preserve it, not buy it. Let me lease it for 20 or 25 years, right? And I'll return it back to the state, but I only need a portion of it. The rest of it, I'll make it into a world-class bird sanctuary. I get caught up in the firestorm. I didn't know Mr. Fireman at the time. I didn't know any of the people really involved in it. I heard this and I said, hey, let's talk about this. Let's see what are the community givebacks that we possibly could get if we allow something like this to happen. Immediately, I'm hit with, oh, you must have been paid off. You're not a real black leader. Those are the talks coming from Sam Pezzi.
Bro, that's okay. Wow. Okay.
Those are the things that were labeled, right? You've had other people associated with this, right? I know factually, Sam puts off this, Mr. President puts off this very, to the public, to his followers, as this old scholarly professor type, right? Sam can be very passionate and borderline nasty in his advocacy, all right? Hey, we can agree to disagree, right? But as a man of color, right? When a white man tells me basically I'm not a black leader or I'm being bought and sold, right? It takes me back to that plantation mentality. And that's what I think he has in a lot of things. Like, hey, he has good friends of mine, right? People I respect. Frank Gilmore, Chris Gadsden, Michael Griffin, who are supporting him, right? But we can agree to disagree on an issue, right? So when I hear people saying, well, Bruce, you brought race into it, or you guys bring no, that's not true. Because what it seems to me is what happens, Fernando, is when people of color, right, especially African American people, when they speak up to issues, right, that are not really what you call like the front page, like when it's a crime that's not predicated on violence or something involved with violence, right? Sure. You're basically told, shut up and dribble. You can speak about violence, you can speak about that, but when it comes to stuff like environmental safety, cleaning a park that has 300 acres of contamination in it, right? Those are the things that I'm not supposed to have the intellect or the knowledge to speak upon, unless I'm being fed off or I'm being influenced through some type of self-gain or personal gain, and I take offense to that.
Well, and Bruce, it's interesting because, I mean, you don't gain anything monetarily, personally from it. I think what you're trying to do is just simply raise awareness about this issue where, again, your voice reaches a lot of people countywide. You're a prominent figure in Jersey City. Okay. Politicals talk to you, you know, exactly. So when you convey a position, I get it. It's going to get some scrutiny. Listen, no one knows that better than me. Okay. But I think especially in Jersey City, where I know that on the South Side, and really, again, as we get towards Liberty State Park, people get really triggered about what Liberty State Park means to different people. And I'll let you finish your thought. I know you were just about to say something. And folks, by the way, it's 7:12 here on the East Coast. If you're just joining us live here on Real Talk via Jersey First TV, sharing is caring. Click that share button. My guest tonight is the editor and publisher of the Hudson County Chronicles, Bruce Alston, joining us here tonight. But Bruce, what's interesting about, I think, the way we look at Liberty State Park, and this is something that I did do my own homework on. I had to be corrected on the air because I wasn't familiar sort of with the logistics of it. You know, if you ask someone like me, where, listen, you know me, I'm as fiscal conservative as it comes. If we can generate revenue without raising taxes or creating or building something, I'm all for that. I was under the impression that, again, it's sort of contained within the name, but I felt, oh, maybe, you know, the county can work something out with the state. That's not the case. It's Liberty State Park. It's a state park. So if tomorrow, you know, certain powers that be got their way, and let's say we had a small amphitheater built there, almost like the PNC Bank Arts Center down the shore, which, by the way, is great to go to during the summertime. Concerts, everything else, it's great. Why not have something like that in Hudson County, or more track and fields, or more football fields, baseball diamonds? Listen, I had the coach of the Ferris baseball team on my podcast saying that the fields in Jersey City are a disaster. These poor kids playing baseball. And by the way, Ferris High School, no joke, serious baseball contender, as well as other high schools in Hudson County, in Jersey City specifically. Like, why not create more athletic space? Maybe a small amphitheater. No one's saying a stadium, maybe a small little convention center. But then I was correct and said, well, Fernando, it's a state park. It's not like, hey, you charge revenue or admission, that money's going to Jersey City or Hudson County. That's not the case. But maybe a compromise could be the county working with the state where, hey, listen, if we're going to use a certain amount of land for these amenities, why not X amount of percentages go to Hudson County? Because, hey, aren't we always complaining that the county executive and the board of commissioners, right, / freeholders, oh, they might raise taxes because we need money? Like, this is a good idea.
Here's the thing.
But I get killed for that.
Here's the thing, right? People get me when they want to get into the argument of, oh, well, local government, county government, and city government should provide recreational facilities, okay? Here's the thing. In the 1977 master plan, right? A master plan that Sam Peasant's father, Morris, right? And also Audrey Zapp, right? Were all part of this commission, right? In that master plan, right? So you knew everything that you named was included in that 1977 master plan, which was signed off by these people. This is all in the 1977 master plan. They wanted to even create a small business opportunities within the park, right? That allowed the community surrounding it, right, to operate those businesses. Okay. The same recreational facilities was supposed to be part of the phase 2 of the park. All right. Here's the thing. Since 1977, right? Since the park's open, we're still in phase 1. Here's the reality to it.
That's crazy. That's crazy to even
Here's the
think
reality to it.
Crazy.
Over half the park is contaminated with chromium. There's no denying that. Wait, you cannot buy an ice cream cone in Liberty State Park. Think about that. You cannot use a public restroom in Liberty State Park. They have porta potties. Meanwhile, this is a park that we say is the jewel of the state park system, right? And you got to go use a portable toilet to relieve yourself. There's something wrong at Liberty State Park.
No, okay. And Bruce also too. Let me ask you. Well, let me ask you this about it as well, because I think that what's also, I think, sort of degrading itself, and I think really deteriorating, is the Liberty Science Center, where, again, for years, right, this was a facility, Bruce, that would cater and host various events, galas, everything else. And even then, like, I have a friend of mine who works in the visual and performing arts, and there was a show last Thursday at Liberty State Park, in the Liberty Science Center, and they're watching these gifted kids in dance performances, and meanwhile they look up at the ceiling, and you could tell it's clearly asbestos everywhere. I think it's a shame what's happening at the Liberty Science Center. To your point about the overabundance of chromium, I think it's disgraceful. And again, I don't want to get overly political on this, because I think that both parties are to blame in Trenton for years. Republican governors, Democrat governors. It's like, I'm not going to play politics with this, because, quite frankly, I think it's a problem going back decades, different administrations, different legislators that have been, sort of the revolving door that is Trenton sometimes. And quite frankly, we're nowhere closer to getting Liberty State Park to be that jewel, like you mentioned, like it was once perceived. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. But I mean, what's even more crazy is that you've had community groups that have supposedly over the last 30 years been engaged and taken and being the shepherds of Liberty State Park. And you ask, like, if anybody's really watching what's going on in Liberty State Park, how could you let it deteriorate that way? Why hasn't there been a call for action to clean up the chromium? Why was these facilities even ever closed down? Why was the swimming pool taken out? These are different things that you have to ask yourself, like,
well, Bruce, it makes you wonder, because Trenton seems to find money for a lot of other things, right? It's really, it's bizarre. They can find a lot of other stuff in the budget. And again, I mean, listen, I don't want to get overly political about it, but, when it comes to dissecting the state budget, they find money to, help coddle illegals, to fund this program, that program. And again, when it comes to cleaning up the park, a state park, for years now, budget after budget, governor after governor has just sort of been like, hey, it's Liberty State Park is a cute talking point. It's a nice hashtag when it comes to a rally or whatever, but it just seems like people are just twiddling their thumbs.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash the organization, the Friends of Liberty State Park, because
sure.
I respect that they've been advocating for certain things for the park. I respect that they've been advocating not to have a park privatized. No one wants that. But listen to this, though. Taking back to bringing an amphitheater, bringing community gardens, bringing a farmer's market, bringing a community center, right? And they say, who's going to run it, right? Here's the thing. You build these facilities. Why wouldn't Jersey City Recreation, Hudson County, right, come in, right, and do some type of working partnership where, hey, our employees will run these different type of facilities, right? The city and county just did it with SciTech High School, Jersey City.
Yeah.
Jersey City. So there's partnerships that can be done, definitely.
Absolutely. Bruce, we'll get back to Liberty State Park in a moment, but a lot to dissect in Hudson County politics this year. Obviously, an election year. All on the ballot is legislative seats obviously in June coming up, certainly in the primary, and then this November. Obviously, after COVID, the redistricting plan got a little delayed. We all know the hoopla and the controversy that was the redistricting committee in Trenton, what ended up happening, how certain legislative districts changed. That was the case here in Hudson County. All three legislative districts that are contained in Hudson County did change rather drastically. Up by me in North Hudson, in what is now the new 33rd, is Union City, Weehawken, West New York, North Bergen, Guttenberg, and Secaucus, which is that wasn't the case for the last 10 years. In the new 32nd legislative district, it is strictly the city of Hoboken and now the Jersey City Heights and downtown Jersey City. And also in the 31st legislative district, it's still the south side of Jersey City, the peninsula city of Bayonne. It now includes Kearney, where that was before in the old 32nd. Obviously, being removed now is Harrison and East Newark. They're going into, I'm not sure exactly what district it is, but it is the district where State Senator Teresa Ruiz oversees that district in the legislature. So very, very different makeup. Obviously, it created a cluster blank of trying to rearrange the state Senate seats, the assembly seats, obviously up in North Hudson. My mayor and State Senator Brian Stack came out triumphant there. I think at the time, State Senator Nick Sacco knew that with redistricting, he was going to have to try to primary Brian Stack. And, let's be honest, Nick Sacco's not suicidal. He knew that would be crashing a car into a wall. He gracefully bowed out, gave up the Senate seat to Brian Stack. Obviously, he'll be the state senator moving forward. Obviously, a lot of moving and shaking, obviously. Different chairman now with the HCDO, going back to last year with Anthony Veneri now. Certainly different assembly seats. Same thing in the 32nd district. Now Raj Mukherjee kind of getting promoted to state senator in that district. Obviously, two new assembly running mates in the 32nd. Same thing in the 31st. Obviously, our good friend, Senator Cunningham, the lioness, I would argue, of the state Senate for many years, forced to step down due to medical reasons. Angela McKnight stepping into her Senate seat potentially. To obviously a new assembly running mate in Barbara Stamato. What do you make of all this, bro? A lot to tackle in this legislative year, right?
It's a lot to tackle, but I think we both were expecting some type of redistricting. There was always backroom talk that either that Sacco that Brian would be moved into Sacco's district. So we kind of expected that. Yeah. I don't think anybody expected Senator Cunningham to get ill, and not run for re-election. I think most assumed she'd run for re-election with the 2-year term and maybe retire in 2025. So where do we go from here? One thing I can tell you, this was a gentrification of politics. When you consider the south side of the city.
That's a strong word, bro. That's a strong word, man.
It's the truth. Like I tell people right now, they come and tell me, Bruce, the African-American vote in Jersey City. I said, what vote? It's filtered down now. 31st district, right, was always viewed as the African-American district, right? Now it's a third. So.
Well, Bruce, but could we make the argument that, again, with the inclusion of Kearney now into the district, and again, I was surprised. I guess, for the record, I don't want anyone to twist my words around. I like Barbara Stamato, nice lady, doing a nice job as the chair in the Jersey Democratic Committee. I don't have a bad thing to say about Barbara. That's not my issue. Were you surprised, though, that maybe a woman of color or maybe a Latina wasn't nominated to that assembly seat? Because, again, it was sort of looked upon as a more blacker district for many years. Obviously, now the inclusion of Kearney changes up the makeup a little bit. Were you surprised at Barbara at the selection of Barbara Stamato?
I was surprised with Barber's selection, yes, right? What I thought was either honestly, I actually thought that Senator Cunningham was going to run for re-election. And I'm glad to hear that she's doing a lot better now. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. But
yes, absolutely.
I was surprised about Barber, right? I did thought that, hey, there might be a chance for Latino to step in there. I even thought about the mayor from Kearney, Santos himself. I thought about him. He might take the seat, right? But looking at it now, I mean, who basically lost in his power struggle was with the appointment of Barbara. It's another seat lost for African Americans, though. Think about it.
Sure.
This is what I say is, though, I don't know who's negotiating these moves, right? But if I'm the black operative, right, I might have said to Angela, hey, stay in the assembly, because it'd been very hard to make an argument not to replace Senator Cunningham with another African-American woman or even man. You know what I mean? Because now Angela steps up, and now it's really, really an open seat where they can justify putting Barbara there or Latina there. I don't think if Angela stayed in the assembly and she was moving up very rapidly in the assembly, could have the HCDO replaced? Could they have replaced Senator Cunningham with Barbara Slamato? No.
And it's interesting because in staying in Jersey City, though, obviously we know that Mayor Fulop earlier this year announced he will not be running for another term. Subsequently, a video was released a couple of months ago that he announced his run for governor. I mean, listen, I don't want to split hairs. It looked like that video was filmed back in October. It looked very autumnish to me in terms of the climate, what he was wearing. But I'm not going to speculate on that. But the point is that I think Steve is going to run into some problems. And I'll tell you why. And again, this is not me hating on Steve. I like Steve the person. I think there's some things politically I may not be fond of. But this is where I think Steve runs into some problems, Bruce. And I think you respect my political analysis as I respect yours. This is my thing. Where January of 2022, we saw the North Hudson mayors convene. Obviously, when the deal was brokered that Sacco would not be challenging Stack, I have it on good information, which I know you can find out too, that one of the conditions of the compromise was that Sacco said, hey, I want a choice of who's the next HCDO chair. No surprise, he picked his boy, Anthony Veneri. Okay. Now, again, this is before...
Who's potentially Sacco's successor as mayor.
Yes. Now, again, this is before Amy's troubles last summer. Now, going into last January 2022, obviously there was a lot of hoopla. Like, why? Why are they replacing Amy when she was doing a good job by many? And again, I talked to a lot of people statewide, like you do. I heard a lot of people whispered in my ear and said, Amy's a good sheriff for Hudson County.
Yeah.
She finds a way to sort of balance the egos. She finds a very good way to get out the... Listen, let's be honest. In 2018, Bob Menendez doesn't get reelected if she doesn't turn out that vote for him. We're talking about 30,000 something votes in Hudson County.
Absolutely.
Let's not get it twisted here. Bob Menendez doesn't get reelected if it's not for that solid turnout in Hudson County. Again, and Amy did Jesus to thank for that. I mean, obviously the mayors too, but as the chair, Amy did a good job there. I found it odd that somehow somebody, again, this is not a shot at Anthony. I like him. I've interviewed him. He's a nice guy. But I find it hard to believe that Anthony is going to be that power broker that you need as a county chair statewide that's going to help Steve. Because let's be very honest, Bruce. Ross Baraka's gone to Jersey City. We've seen his name floated around. But if Ross Baraka decides to jump into this gubernatorial primary race for the Democratic Party, Leroy Jones, the state Democratic chair, is going to be on Team Baraka. Carl DiVincenzo, the Essex County executive, arguably one of the more powerful county executives in the state, is going to be on the Baraka train. Josh Gottheimer, he's from the Clinton School of Fundraising. He can raise money like that. He poses problems for Steve. Mikey Sherrill, the other representative in North Jersey, former Air Force pilot, a woman. She checks off a lot of boxes. Steve's going to run into some problems. Steve can raise money. That's all well and good. But I'm not sure if Anthony Veneri, as chair of the Democratic Party in Hudson County, is the power broker that Steve's going to need to branch out statewide, Bruce. Where am I wrong in my analysis, brother?
I'll tell you what I think. I said I don't know. I understand what you're saying, and I do agree with it. But I think that what Steve's doing is, or Mayor Phillip is doing is, he's building his coalition a little bit differently. I think he's saying to Anthony Veneri, Brian Stack, he's going to say to Craig Guy, hey, if you guys solidify Hudson, that's all I need you to do. Solidify Hudson for me, right? We need 70% turnout, right? Now, what I think Steve is doing skillfully is he's picking up pieces, factions of vote getters. I mean, he has the mayor of Hillside, right? She's with him. He's going to have the mayor of Atlantic City's with him. I think then when you look at Ras Baraka, that's a problem. Because Ras is going to energize the African American and Latino and progressive support, right? Mm-hmm. But flashback, right? We've seen this before. And I'm going to tell you when we've seen it before. We've seen Ken Gibson back in either 81 or 85, right?
Sure.
The Newark mayor, progressive, right? Yes. He galvanized support from the strongholds of the African American Latino, but was that enough, right, to put him over the top? No. Yes, that's 40 years ago. Demographics have changed.
Sure.
African American population has changed, right? But here's the thing. I think Phillip
and Bruce also too. If I can just add this real quick, I'll let you finish a little real quick though. Another name I left off the list though is the current Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, who again I don't know health wise how she's going to be doing by 2025, obviously. But my other concern about her is that I mean we'll be coming up to the end, thankfully, of 8 years of Phil Murphy, and again we may disagree on this. I think Phil Murphy's been an unmitigated disaster for New Jersey. He's made the state more unaffordable with awful policies. I think that he's a guy who got COVID wrong compared to other governors. You can be progressive, but when you kowtow so far to the left, I think you're going to turn off even middle of the road people. I think Sheila Oliver might run into that wall of, hey, listen, what are you going to run on in the sense of like another Murphy term? I think that's where she hits a brick wall. I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing, though. You pointed out, right? 3 candidates all coming out of Essex County. That helps Phillip. So if I'm Phillip, I want Mikey Sherrill to run. I want Ras Baraka to run. I want Sheila Oliver to run, right? And I want even the mayor from Montclair, Speller, to run, who basically has an exploratory, has some type of pack out there. I think he's thinking about a run. The one who scares me most for Phillip is Gottheimer. Extraordinary fundraiser.
He raises money.
Right? He raised gobs of money. And I think Phillip went early.
And to be honest, though, Bruce, and also Bruce, he's not that far left. I mean, he's center left.
Exactly.
But I think that again, after 8 years of Murphy and these crazy woke nonsense policies that he's been invoking. And let's be honest, too, the leadership in Trenton, whether it was former state President Sweeney or even now Scutari or even Coughlin, they've enabled him. They've enabled him to go far left, subscribe to all this woke nonsense. And I don't know, again, if that's something if that's the blueprint you want, if you're Stephen Phillip. I think you kind of want to come back to the middle because you have to win those voters back.
Well, we've seen it, though. We've seen the history of New Jersey electing governors. We go with the centrists. Whether it be Brendan Byrne, Tom Kean, Christy Whitman, Governor Christie, they were seen as centrists, not really right-wing Republicans. Moderate Democrats liked them, and the middle is going to win this, right? I'll be honest with you. Even whoever gets out of this primary, they're going to have a hard time with Citarelli.
Now, you know what, Bruce? Bruce, I got to tell you, man, I have to respectfully disagree. And the reason I say that is I called that race close in 2021. I said that because of so many pockets of the state where Murphy was unpopular. Again, he got COVID wrong. We're going to learn that with that report that comes out soon enough, right? Conveniently, before it's going to come out until after the legislative election, by the way, folks. But, you know, Murphy got a lot of things wrong, closing down businesses, the way he handled COVID, all that. And still, even with that massive unpopularity, Jack Chiarelli, who I like personally, but he was very bland, Bruce. He was bland. And I'm not saying you need a bombastic Republican, but he just wasn't energizing enough. And again, here's a number that I think speaks volumes about why Murphy won. Only 38% of registered Republicans came out to vote. If even so much as 10% more come out, Jack Chiarelli's the governor. But again, there was such an uninteresting, bland, generic. It was almost like looking at MetLife Stadium out in Route 3. It's very generic, very bland, very uninspiring. That's unfortunately what Jack Chiarelli presented. And if that's the Republican nominee in 25, I hate to break it to you, with vote by mail clearly favoring Democrats, and again, Jack Chiarelli not being a very entertaining candidate, Democrats are going to win the gubernatorial race for the foreseeable future.
But I get that. But I'll tell you another thing is, though, I want to go back to something. I don't think Leroy Jones and Joe DeFacenzo are really with Ras Baraka. I think they're really behind that Mikey Sherrill chain. That's what I'm hearing. They want the congressman.
Okay.
And I think one of the reasons is that we got to remember, Ras enjoys a very cordial relationship with Joe D, right? But as the mayor of Newark, right, he kind of really looked as the leader of Essex County, right? Essex County has numerous municipalities, right? Majority of African-American mayors, right? And I don't see how this is gonna play out. I think Steve's roadmap is you got to get Passaic, you got to try to get Union, right, and you got to see what you can do with Monmouth. I think that's his roadmap.
Yeah, fair enough. Speaking of the mayor's current city, obviously he did announce he's not running for re-election in 2025. Now the speculation begins about who's going to be the mayoral hopeful in Hudson County's largest city. And I'll tell you, Bruce, I mean, you've written some great columns on not just the website. Folks, by the way, check it out, HudsonCountyChronicles.com. Make sure you like Hudson County Chronicles on Facebook. Of course, follow it. Also on Twitter, I believe. Yes. You've written, I think, an extensive piece lately. And again, I'm just sort of looking at my notes here about how 2025 is going to look. Now, obviously, you know, before what happened last summer, Amy DeGee's looked like a big name, especially with her father stepping down, retiring. Craig Guy obviously moving into that role. More on Craig in a minute. I really want to pick your brain about Craig Guy. But obviously, I think that Amy will most likely want to run for re-election as an at-large seat. Obviously, I think she has a lot of work to do, even by her own admission, about trying to make sure she wins back the trust of the voters. But you got a big clutter now because you got James Solomon, who won 2 races, again, challenging the machine, challenging the HCDO establishment, winning on his own, fundraising, like a monster. And he won 2 races decisively. Obviously, you have Joyce Waterman, the council president, another name. A name that I'm surprised that I think is sort of fizzling out is Daniel Rivera. I hear people tell me, hey, Dan Rivera's not going to be interested in running for mayor. I think it's exhausting. I think he maybe doesn't want to deal with that sort of grief and stress that a campaign may bring. I think you're also seeing, obviously, Freeholder Bill O'Day, Commissioner Bill O'Day, excuse me, as well as other names. But I have to tell you, if it's going to be an establishment guy, it's not going to be Solomon. Like, his act plays well downtown in Pedestrian Plaza with, about bathrooms and genders and all the other woke stuff that he subscribes to. The rest of Jersey City to jump on board with it, the Heights, South Side, East Side, I'm going to raise money, but I don't think his act plays well throughout the entire portions of the city. Bill O'Day reaches across the aisles and checks off a lot of boxes, though, Bruce, for
Yes.
people that want to see the next generation of mayor in Jersey City. Who do you like as a favorite?
I'll tell you, I think O'Day is a front runner, like you said. I mean, O'Day has the track record of he plays well. Like he's beloved within the African American Latino communities, even with the Asian communities, right? Bill's someone who's known as, if Bill O'Day tells you something, it's his word. I think Solomon's going to suffer from the fact of, hey, we had the whole reformer come in before. That was Steve. Is it, do we want that again right away? You know, I mean, so what happened before? Brett Shuttler came in like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then Glenn came after him. Then we had Healy. So is that cycle going to play out? The only thing I think I would say about Solomon, I said Solomon's Solomon's very formidable.
No, absolutely. And let me just mention Craig Guy. And I got to tell you, man, has there been anyone in recent memory, Bruce, that has been able to transition his way from being an operative to being sort of, again, a power broker to now really kind of going onto the forefront? Now, he's the guy, excuse the pun, as the county executive nominee, and most likely going to win that, obviously. I don't see the progressive candidate really making traction there. But I got to tell you, man, you want to give a grade, how about an A to Craig Guy, who, again, went from behind the scenes, making things happen, being Tom DeGee's right-hand man, being that number one, as they say, to now, like, hey, he's going to be the face of Hudson County. He's going to be the guy entrusted to managing a lot of egos among the mayors, among council members in different municipalities.
You know what? I'm going to start you right there. What Craig's doing is remarkable in this aspect, and you said it.
Yeah. Yep.
Craig has always been like that. He's evolved. Before, when Craig first came out into the political scene, I believe he was with Jerry McCann when they were a lot younger, right? Very, very take charge, this, that, and the other thing. Craig, over the past, I would say, even during the Haley administration, right, became more of the Henry Kissinger type. Let's make peace within the party.
Yeah.
It makes no sense for us, Hudson County, to have all this fighting within, right? His leap now into elected politics, right, says a lot, number one, for the respect that the other county mayors have, right? But also, he has acquired the intellect to really know, hey, who needs what, who knows what, who needs what. And see, this is the other thing I tell people. I don't think Craig's worried about being liked. See, too many elected officials, they get into this and they want to be liked. They want to be beloved. I think Craig is like, hey, listen, this job is about managing egos, right?
Yeah.
Doing what's best for Hudson County, right? But more importantly, to make sure that we don't fall back into that, I want to say post-Januszewski era, where like immediately like DeGee's was like, Tom DeGee's came in and he's just trying to rebrand the county and trying to get the ilk from us from the scandals and everything, right? And I think Craig is someone that's going to come in. He's a little bit younger than Tom. He's going to reach out to the progressives, try to bring some younger minds in. I think he'll even reach across the aisle to Republicans. I think Craig, I was shocked at first, but the choice makes sense.
No, it certainly does. Bruce, before I let you go, and folks, it's 7:43 here on the East Coast. If you just joined us live here, special 7 p.m. edition of Real Talk via Jersey First TV. And my guest tonight is the distinguished editor and publisher of the Hudson County Chronicles, Bruce Alston join us here tonight live. Bruce, before I let you go real quick here, let's just talk a little Cowboys. We're devoted members of Cowboys Nation. Schedule came out last week. Open up against the Giants. Should be a win. 11 of the last 12 games against the Giants. The Cowboys have won, or 11-1. So I'm feeling kind of good about that. But a tough schedule. No surprise there. Not in love with Dak Prescott. I've been very open about my dislike for him. I think the window's closing on this guy. I think we saw the best we could out of him. Yeah, he beats the Eagles, beats the Giants and the Redskins, but against a better team in the wild card or divisional rounds, he defecates the bed, as they say. I'm not a fan of him. I know we're stuck with him for another 2 years with the salary cap, but the Cowboy defense is still solid. They drafted well. I like the Cowboys being still a player in the NFC.
Oh, we're definitely players. But I mean, the Eagles are going to be tough, right?
Yeah. Yep.
The Eagles are going to be very tough, and our division is going to be tough. I expect the Giants to be better. But I think that let's face facts. We look better with Cooper Rush.
I love Baby Goat. And for the first time last year, we talk off the air a lot. I was always very critical of McCarthy. Last year was a year where, again, when things went wrong, it wasn't McCarthy. It was an offensive coordinator that was trash, and I'm glad he's gone. He's Justin Herbert's problem now with the Chargers. Again, we have to see what happens with the new offensive coordinator. I love our defensive coordinator. I love our defense. I think they keep us in games. We'll see what happens. I love Cooper Rush. Listen, I was at that game last year here against the Giants. That sea of navy blue was amazing. Real quick on the Lakers. Who would have thought it? 2-10 to start the year, a dysfunctional roster with Russell Westbrook, just not playing to potential. And sure enough, the GM at the deadline made some moves, picking up D'Angelo Russell. You got White Mamba, Austin Reeves. You got, you have just guys stepping up.
You want to hear something crazy?
Sure.
This might be the best supporting cast LeBron James has ever had.
Agreed.
And the reason I'm going to say that, Darvin Ham has them playing defense.
Yes.
He did something that I always said. Hey, LeBron should have always been playing in the front court.
Sure. Yep.
LeBron's not handling the ball as much, right? And it helps. But we got to give Rob Pelinka credit. We were all over him at first.
Listen, in January, I was texting. I was like, "Bro, what's going on with this team? They need to make some moves. They're like they're not even in the play-in on New Year's Day." And I'm like, "Yo, they gotta get their act together." And sure enough, they got into the play-in, the 7 seed. They upset the Grizzlies. They upset the Warriors. Listen, Denver's a tall mountain to climb. Excuse the pun there, but I think they can win this.
I like this AD Jokic matchup, right?
Yeah. That's fine with Jokic. Listen, Jokic poses problems, but you're going to tell me that LeBron, Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, and the rest of the crew can't contain Michael Porter Jr.
He's just going to shoot threes. That's all he's going to do.
Yeah, they can do that. And even Contavious Caldwell-Pope, who I love him on the 2020 championship team for the Lakers, we'll see what happens. I say Lakers in 6. We're going to find out, obviously, as the series begins this Wednesday in Denver on TNT. Bruce, real quick, before I let you go, you're always a gentleman. I love talking with you. I think nobody really has a better sense of Hudson County politics. Again, as 2 opinion journalists, you really get a sense of what's going on. You have great sources. I can't tell you enough how much I'm just grateful to you, the respect you have for me, my brand. Well, a lot of people in Hudson County will talk a lot of trash and chirp on me and but my traffic is my traffic. There's nothing, It's all organic. It's nothing boosted. It's people watch me for a reason. Okay. Not because, whatever, not because I'm entertaining or funny.
Yeah.
People want good analysis, and I bring it to them. And so do you. And I really, really, again, I appreciate you want to come on this show and contribute with me and have a good conversation about breaking things down. I can't thank you enough, man. In advance, happy Father's Day to you. I'll give you the last word, brother.
I just want to say, listen, everybody needs to really just get out there and vote, right? I think that anybody gets involved in politics, I think it's crazy. Like a lot of people thought that this would be like something that I'd be like a career candidate or whatever, right? Hey, find your voice, stand for something, stand for your principles, right? I watch a guy like you and I say, hey, Fernando, being a conservative in Hudson County is not a good thing, but hey, you stand for your beliefs and I give you credit for it. And we find common ground often. So, like I tell anybody, hey, get out there and vote, be in it for the good reasons, right? I like to see young people out there like a Tom Zupa, the Hudson County Young Democrats with the kid Bernard Herrick, and the other gentleman, the president. Oh, I love his family. Corey Garriga. Great. I love what they're doing, right? I love to see guys like Bill O'Day, who I know is really in it for the right reasons, that still have that vigor. Sure. I like to see a guy like James Solomon, who passionately fights for the issues that concern his communities, right? Seeing a Michael Griffin saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to fight against the Goliath and I'm going to stand out here and make, hey, you got to applaud that. I like to see Angela McKnight, someone is saying, you know what? Senator Cunningham, pass me that torch because I'm going to carry it. I'm going to carry it further. Barbara McCann's the model. I even like to see her running because I do think Barbara has the temperament and the wisdom that she can bring that old school Jersey City mentality to things, right? So it's a good time, right? But I'd like to see that there's up and coming people looking to get engaged and involved. And hey, I love sharing their stories.
I appreciate it. And Bruce, you're a gentleman, man. Best of luck to you. Obviously, we'll talk to you again soon later this spring and summer about what's going on in Hudson County politics. Obviously, folks, he is the editor and publisher of the Hudson County Chronicles. You can check him out at hudsoncountychronicles.com. I would say the king of journalism in Jersey City. He's Bruce Alston, folks, devoted member of Cowboys Nation.
Now, give that to Michael Sherman. I'll talk to you later.
Fair enough. And also a devoted member of Laker Nation and Cowboys Nation. Bruce Alston, folks, joins us here tonight. Bruce, God bless you, bro. Happy Father's Day. We'll talk again soon on Jersey First TV. Take care. Folks, good episode there with Bruce Alston, again, the publisher of the Hudson County Chronicles. And folks, before we call it a night, obviously, I like to, tell you what bothers me in New Jersey media. And over the weekend, more than a handful of people shot me a text and said, hey, Fernando, check out this gem from Insider NJ over the weekend. And folks, I mean, if there is anyone that's doing a disservice to journalism day in and day out, it is Insider NJ. And before I get to the story that really kind of made me laugh, I'm going to try to read to you the mission statement without laughing, folks. And it's really hard because you know how blatantly disingenuous it is, right? And the reason I want to tell you about the mission statement, it's relevant to my grievance with them this week or on a regular basis, right? Insider NJ is a nonpartisan website dedicated to political news in the state of New Jersey. Veteran award-winning and reporter and editor Max Pizarro, whenever he leaves his house, who God knows when that is contractually in charge of all news content and professionally focused. I can't even say this, without laughing. On making Insider NJ the Garden State's #1 trusted source for political news. Oh my, folks, I can't even say this with a straight face. Who believes this? Again, to make it the #1 trusted source for political news, how is it trusted? With the amount of virtue signaling that they print on a daily basis. More on that later. An editorial board regularly offers opinion on statewide political subjects. Insider NJ is committed to giving serious political players a fair hearing and an interactive and dynamic forum for ideas, discussion, and political intelligence. Really? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? This is an outright lie. You're blatantly lying. But anyway, we will be out here on the streets of our cities. When? Does Max ever leave his house? He has poor Fred Snowflake trekking up and down the state of New Jersey while Max sits on his ass at home. Really? We'll be out on the streets. When? When do you ever see Max Pizarro anywhere? Give me a break. Under the Golden Dome and in the suburban town halls, fairgrounds, marketplaces, county conventions, and diner booths of political inquiry and intrigue. We will find our way into the conversation. What else here? This is really, really funny here. What was the other one here? Oh, okay, here we go. Insider NJ also offers a bi-monthly feature on the political condition of New Jersey's 21 counties. What? How many are so poorly run? You'll never hear that on Insider NJ. The site offers regular power rankings, which we all know in many instances is just bloviating and convoluted vanity window dressing. Video interviews when? I mean, what video interviews? What, 2 minutes? And they'll put you to sleep anyway. Transcribed interviews, news from Trenton, up close and personal feature stories about key political personalities, and incisive stories about the state's key political newsmakers and trends. Insider NJ will use its core organizing principle and point of coverage of the state's 42 county party organizations, in addition to any and all campaigns and elections. Folks, this is just, I can't stop laughing. Like how ridiculous this is. Like you're blatantly lying, Max and Pete and the Graham family. I think you need to revise the mission statement because you're outright lying. You're not doing any of these things. But what I find most egregious, folks, is the idea that somehow Insider NJ general manager Pete O'Nelia has the audacity, again, as the GM there, right? And when you look at that face, Jesus, talk about one of the more insufferable faces to look at in Garden State media when you see him on a television show. But the idea that you're still a trusted news site when you have no problem taking money from people looking to get their stuff published. One thing is a press release, folks. Okay. Press releases get sent to news sites all the time. Okay. And news sites make a decision as to whether or not to publish them or not. But the idea that someone thinks it's okay, or that Pete O'Nelia thinks it's okay. And again, by the way, folks, this is not slander, it's not defamation. Like I have the screenshots. So it's not like I'm making this up. The idea that, yeah, it's okay. She gives us money, so we'll plug her stuff. How are we supposed to trust Insider NJ to be objective, right? Or a trusted news source? It's a lie. It's an outright lie. Okay. And the idea that as if you're not getting enough money by whoring yourselves out to Planned Parenthood, the NJEA, and all these other insufferable left-wing unions and activist organizations, Pete, but yet you have no problem still, again, taking more money from people to think that publishing columns from left-wing, politically and intellectually bankrupt people is a good idea. And somehow you think that this is going to keep Insider NJ as reputable and trusted. It's not. It just isn't. But the latest egregious example, and I had to laugh over the weekend, is when someone sent me, again, the latest, clipping of the latest episode of Activate the Snooze Button. I'm sorry, Activista Rise Up by Patricia Campos Medina, right? Tune in to meet special guest. This is the headline on the press release. Tune in to meet special guest Monica Ramirez, founder and president of Justice for Migrant Women, co-founder of the Latinx House. Jesus Christ, really? Two women here never took high school biology? Really? The Alancia of, against violence against women, the Alancia National Coalition, and also to what else? I believe it's also, violence against women farmer workers and actively fighting for Latina equal pay, her passion for activism and wanting to build a community, obviously, blah, blah, blah. Can someone explain to me how this is relevant to today's political climate, folks? In a state where Governor Murphy, the Emperor, thinks it's cool to raise taxes, to make New Jersey unaffordable, okay, to coddle illegals. Okay. Hey, can Greg Abbott take a bus of illegals from Texas and dump them on Governor Murphy's doorsteps? Would that be could Governor Greg Abbott do that? I'd love it. Because again, leftists and progressives love to, we're all about protecting undocumented people. Well, drop a whole busload on the governor's mansion. I'd love to see what Governor Murphy does, right? But what's interesting, though, is that somehow Insider NJ thinks that in this political climate where kitchen table issues matter, again, the audacity of Pete O'Nelia to go on somebody else's show and talk about, hey, kitchen table issues matter. No, they don't. They clearly don't, Pete. So you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. The audacity you have to go on somebody else's show, Steve Adubato specifically, okay, and talk about, hey, what should we look forward to in the next year? Pete O'Nelia doesn't care about kitchen table issues, because if he did, he would make sure his writers would write more about them. If kitchen table issues really mattered at Insider NJ, Max Pizarro, when he's sitting at home all day, because he's not like going up and down state, would tell his writers, hey, write about them. The fact that under this disaster of a presidency, we have a president approaching 80 who's clearly incoherent, who thinks it's more important to make sure we have a lesbian in every other cabinet position in Washington, D.C., that we focus on pronouns, that the cost of food is skyrocketing, inflation is still a problem, gas prices are still a problem, we're not drilling domestically, the border situation is out of control. Folks, these are kitchen table issues because they affect our cities and our communities. Not this nonsense about migrant workers and, again, some organization here about campesina rights and all that. Nobody cares. I'm sitting here reading this, right? And I'm looking at the, obviously, you can tell there by looking at the YouTube page, again, and I'm a gracious person. Okay. I'm a gracious person. I think it's up to like 6 views now. I viewed the episode a couple of times just to give her some traffic, right? But folks, this isn't important. But this is what Insider NJ would like you to believe is important. But again, it enables the virtue signaling that has become really the moniker and has become the centerpiece of what Insider NJ has become. The idea, again, Mike, Ryan, Max, Pete, sit down and do me a favor. Revise this. Revise this, because you're blatantly lying to people. You're blatantly lying. Again, I'm making Insider NJ the Garden State's #1 trusted source for political news. Folks, we all know that's New Jersey Globe. We all know when it comes to trusted source for political news, it's David Wildstein and it's nobody else. The idea, and again, Pete, and I know you don't care because you're getting money and you're getting paid 6 figures to sit at home in Hawthorne, and I get all that. But folks, this is an outright lie. In an election season when, again, the cost of food, your grocery bills, fuel, whether or not you can take your family on a vacation this summer, maybe you have to pick up another job. These are issues that matter, not the concerns of migrant workers. Nobody cares about this. And I'm sitting here reading this, and I have to tell you, folks, I can't stop laughing watching the video. And listen, again, in fairness, okay, I'm a gentleman, okay? I sat there and I watched this video. You can see a screenshot from the video. Folks, I mean, I couldn't even contain myself. Okay, again, rename the show, Patricia, rename the show, activate the snooze button. That's all this is good for. I had to sit here and look at these two again. And this is, again, folks, that's as uncomfortable as it gets too. But folks, no one cares about these issues. Nobody. Patricia Medina and Insider NJ would like you to believe that this is important. No, it's not. Kitchen table issues, whether it's this legislative cycle, whether it's next year's presidential elections, House races and Senate races, that's what matters. All the issues I just mentioned, it's not pronouns or migrant workers or who's picking fruits or who's working in farms. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares. Insider NJ would like you to believe that you should care, but you shouldn't, folks. These are not the kitchen table issues that govern your households, that make you decide whether or not to work another job, whether to freelance, whether, hey, maybe, you know what, instead of flying somewhere, let's drive somewhere because it'll be more affordable. Again, folks, these are the issues that matter in an election season, not watching shows like this on YouTube. Folks, I could not, I had to press pause after 5 minutes. I was falling asleep, and when I was awake, I couldn't stop laughing at listening to the nonsense that's being peddled. But folks, let's be honest. When it comes to peddling nonsense in New Jersey media, nobody does it better than Insider NJ. Again, Max, Pete, Ryan, Mike, sit down, reassess the mission statement, because it's an outright lie. You all know you're not doing that anymore. You're not a trusted source for political news. It's become virtue signal, like central. And I get it. You have, like, your virtue signalers there already, right? Obviously, you have Jay Lassiter, who, by the way, I'm a gentleman. Okay. As a fellow Taurus, again, I know he's celebrating a birthday. Happy 75th birthday, Jay. It's a big milestone to reach 75. Hey, again, God bless you. 75 years. That's a big milestone. So happy birthday to you and the rest of the virtue signalers there, right? Whether it's Bob Hennelly, Alan Steinberg, John Van Vliet. I mean, folks, the list goes on and on. Again, the most trusted source for political news, folks, that's not a name I would attach to Insider NJ. Hopefully they'll get the message much sooner than later. Once again, folks, that's our show for this week. I want to thank, of course, Bruce Alston, the publisher of the Hudson County Chronicles, for his time tonight. Very insightful conversation about not just Hudson County politics, but statewide politics as well. Folks, don't forget, make sure you like Real Talk and Jersey First on Facebook. Sharing is caring. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter, of course, at Jersey First, and also at the Fernando Zone. Also subscribe to the Jersey First YouTube page, as well as subscribing to Jersey First on Spotify or SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure that you definitely take Jersey First with you anywhere at any time. Folks, I can't say enough about the dream team of Garden State Journalism. Yes, it's Jersey First TV. New episodes of The Nader Narrative air every Thursday. Of course, they're on jerseyfirst.org/TV. And of course, new episodes of Bridging the Gap, with AJ Malilo and Stephen Rombolo, folks. Once again, new episodes also air on Thursdays, and brand new episodes air on Monday night of Real Talk with Jersey First TV. Of course, folks, we'll be back at our regular time of 6 p.m. We might change the start times during the summer, so obviously stay tuned for that one, folks. Can't say enough about what we do at Insider NJ, folks. We're always entertaining, educating, and engaging. Nobody does it better than Insider NJ. And folks, before, again, I call it a night, shout out to Laker Nation. Let me have a little tea here to my Los Angeles Lakers, heading to the Western Conference Finals. And of course, during the NBA playoffs, whenever you get to see a team from Philadelphia lose, that's always a good day. But folks, rocking the purple. Let's go Lakers. Obviously, on to the NBA Finals, hopefully to win a record 18th NBA championship. Let's go Lakers. Folks, once again, I can't say enough here. I always remind you, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Real Talk right here with Jersey First TV. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, top 100 Latino via Latino Spirit Online Magazine. Actually now top 50 Latino, as a matter of fact. Certainly the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, and without a doubt, the people's choice and the people's voice. Yes, it's me, Fernando Uribe, saying so long, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week here live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Latest edition of Real Talk via Jersey First TV. As always, folks, thank you so much for watching.